So it was only a couple of days ago that we were talking about political vigilance on Ride Along. Kim and I had different opinions about the possibility of a third party in Grenada. And we were talking about what I believe was an impressive video launch of a party, the PNP, by Jonathan Lacrette. Well, apparently, it seems like that video of that impressive launch is no longer available. So the question is, what happened? Based on what is reported, it is alleged that there were some legal issues with the use of the footage and the background shown in the video. It is quite obvious where much of the background and the aerial views were taken. It is that beautiful plantation property up on the hill in Boucherjou. Well, all of a sudden, it seems like there were some issues with authorization to use the footage for political purposes. And it is alleged that the lawyers got involved. So one thing is quite clear is that the forces that be are not, in this case, taking their ups for granted. And that is a good thing in politics. So quite to the contrary about what Cam said about not taking seriously a third party or not taking Jonathan Lacrette seriously, I believe that the forces that be are taking it quite seriously. Some way along the line, along the chain of command, we have a shrewd politician. And I understand the predicament which the owner of the property finds himself, especially when recently that owner might have opened a factory out in St. David's and may have gotten government assistance to do so. So it would be wise not to ruffle any feathers. It would be wise to not to want to be associated with Mr. Lacrette's party in any form or fashion. So the owner of that property would be more than happy to facilitate the demise of the video launch. And I understand Cam is not a politician. He says that over and over. So I guess the real political strategic thinking is actually not in his hands. But it's quite obvious that the people who should be thinking about this is actually thinking about this. So I did say that Mr. Lacrette would have had an uphill battle in the launch of his party and securing votes or making an impact in the next election. This is one of the many challenges he would have to face. It gives him an opportunity, however, to show his political, tactical, and strategic maneuvering. Hopefully, he takes the opportunity or seizes the opportunity to show that he's up to the task. You know what they say, attack them on the beach when they're trying to gain a foothold. Attack them when they're most vulnerable. In this twisted game of politics, all sometimes seems very fair. I have a strange feeling that the people who are concerned at the upper echelon might have been looking at our discussion and might have taken a little bit of heed. Either way, kudos to you guys for not being, as we would say, lackadaisical, but on the contrary, for being vigilant. Now, it is stuff like that that makes it quite possible that you make an excellent showing in the next election. You're obviously not taking anything for granted, and you're not making comedy of the possibility of your ops throwing their hats in the ring in the next upcoming election.
My tiger kung fu is better than yours. I don't think you're good enough to avenge your master. Admit it, am I not much better than you?